Hello there, welcome back to the booth. I've got Randy Buehler, Ian Duke, I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, and it is time for round 14 here from Pro Tour Fate Reforged. Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Fate Reforged. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth. I have got Randy Buehler and Ian Duke with me, and we are about to watch a match between two former teammates, maybe again future teammates. Sam Black on the left-hand side there. He tested with teamwork, as we're calling it.
He decided he wanted to mix it up. Didn't have anything against Pantheon. Expects he'll probably go back at some point in the future, but wanted to try things a little bit differently, kind of work on his own a little more.
And his opponent, well, that's Jon Finkel.
Yeah, he kind of epitomizes the Pantheon. You can't have a Pantheon without Jon Finkel.
Agreed. Bylaws and all of it. So the matchup here, gentlemen, is an interesting one, and one we haven't seen into the cameras yet. Sam Black is piloting Amulet Bloom, and his opponent is on Infect. So what do you guys make of this matchup, Randy?
Well, I think that Infect is going to be faster on average, but if you get the good deck with Amulet, you just crush them on turn 2.
If you get that draw that is just unstoppable.
The God draw from the Bloom deck is the fastest thing in the format.
And we'll get to take a peek at Sam's hand with a turn 1 Gitaxian Probe here from Jon Finkel. So two hugely explosive decks here. Definitely going to be a bit of a race to see who can come out the fastest.
Now, the card I'm looking for, there's quite a few different pieces that make the Amulet Bloom deck work, but here in the early turns, I'm looking for Summer Bloom.
Well, what he needs is gas.
And I see Azusa.
Sure, he's got the ability to put a bunch of lands into play, and he's got the Amulet, but what's he doing with his mana? Right. He wants a Primeval Titan, or the kill is usually Hive Mind.
We've also seen Summoner's Pact
be
able to find those things.
And or kill with the Hive Mind in play, right?
Correct.
Yeah, he's got Ancient Stirrings to do a little bit of digging, but at least pre-board, I don't see a ton of action spells that he can find with the Ancient Stirrings itself.
Now, for Jon Finkel, not a great start. No Glistener Elf.
No Noble Hierarch.
No Noble Hierarch, and also not even an Inkmoth Nexus there for Jon. So a slower start for him with no turn to play. And here's Azusa. Lost but Seeking. That's going to net him a couple of extra land drops and really kind of start powering things forward for Sam.
So Sam with an explosive mana draw, but again, unclear what he's developing into just yet.
What can he find with Ancient Stirrings?
Mostly just lands, it looks like. I mean, he can find Teleria West and transmute that into a Pact, but he doesn't have the Hive Mind to go with it just yet. Nothing else that's standing out to me just yet.
He did find, he can Teleria West to transmute for Summoner's Pact, which can get
That's
gas.
right. Yep, that's probably the path he's going to take here.
He did find the transmute card with the Ancient Stirrings.
He did. He found a lot of lands off of that and decided to grab the transmute card there. He's going to pass the turn back. So things developing relatively slowly for each player. This is going to be Finkel's second turn. This deck that Jon is piloting is Infect, and it's looking to use an Infect creature plus a bunch of pump spells.
Yeah. Well, he's set up for turn 2 Blighted Agent, and he can get it to 9 effectively with basically 2 attacks with those 2 Vines of Vastwood.
Yeah, I mean,
will win the game. It's 5 and then 5.
Now, are we going to see Sam Black interact with the Infect creatures of Jon Finkel in any meaningful way?
So one option is he does have access to, I was going to say Slaughter Pact, but I think that might only be out of the board here. So he actually doesn't have much in the way of direct creature removal. I'm sorry, he does have 1 Slaughter Pact he could potentially fetch with the Teleria West, but that would be at the expense of fetching something proactive like a Summoner's Pact into a Primeval Titan like we mentioned earlier.
Okay, and we're talking about 1 copy in the whole deck. So he would have to search that up with...
Yeah, he does. I think he does have the Teleria West. Didn't he fetch that up?
No, he has that. Yeah. I'm talking about the Slaughter Pact.
Yep.
Yeah. So not a lot of removal on the side of Sam Black. It's not like Jon has to worry about cards like
his plan against creature decks is to kill them.
And just to interject real quick, Jon did pick up a Might of Old Krosa for +4/+4.
Yeah, all of a sudden his... Well, his kill didn't actually get faster, right? Because he can still only get to 9 power.
Right, but what this does let him do is save a Vines of Vastwood to react to a Slaughter Pact. He will have 4 lands in play on the turn that he's going to come in for the kill. So that's a kicked Vines of Vastwood, a Might of Old Krosa, and then also leaving up the reactive Vines of Vastwood to there too. So that part of it is relevant.
Okay, Blighted Agent. Could be Sam Black's future death sitting on the table there if Sam can't get something going pretty quickly here.
I think he's got 2 turns.
But don't count Sam out of this. I mean, we've seen this Amulet deck be incredibly explosive once it gets a Primeval Titan into play.
Sam was comparing playing this deck to putting together a puzzle. He says he's better at Magic than puzzles.
That's saying a lot, though, because Sam's quite good at puzzles.
Agree.
Can he get... What can he accomplish this turn?
Well, he's drawn another Ancient Stirrings, and he can transmute as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, if he wants to be safe, he could go for the Slaughter Pact, but he's got to think, you know, there's a high chance Jon has some kind of protective spell in his hand, be it a Vines of Vastwood or an Apostle's Blessing. So yeah, he goes for the proactive thing, and I generally agree with that here. I mean, I think he's got to put himself in a racing position here and just hope that Jon isn't going to kill him on the next turn.
It is pretty difficult for Jon to kill him on the next turn, right? Even with an extra land.
Given what we know about Jon's hand.
Basically requires Become Immense.
Yeah, and that's got to be a card that Sam is fearing right now. But, you know, this is one of those situations where if you can't play around it, you've got to assume they don't have it and just try to further your own game plan.
2+4s and a Pendlehaven. It's not that hard for Jon to kill in 1, but I mean, it takes 3 cards to do it. There's no 2 cards that Jon could have.
Plus a land drop.
Well, I mean, the right 2 spells. If he went land, Might of Old Krosa, Become Immense, that's the 2 cards that can do it most efficiently. There are more combinations of 3 cards that would do it.
Use the green. Okay.
All right, so he's going to use the green for Ancient Stirrings to keep digging here.
So note that he will have to pay for the Slaughter Pact on his next turn. So it's going to be probably 2 turn cycles before he gets that Primeval Titan onto the battlefield. So
could easily be too late.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sam knows that
he can play.
He's got his
gets 3 land drops,
Seeking
right?
still.
Doesn't he go Gruul
total.
Turf, pick it up, Gruul Turf, pick it up, Gruul Turf, and play it now?
That's a great point.
He's got 2 land drops left thanks to Azusa, so Primeval Titan's coming down.
So you're seeing the raw power of Amulet of Vigor in the combination with these bounce lands.
6.
And that is exactly 6 mana needed for Primeval Titan, just like you described, Randy.
Yep.
And now there's a trigger on the stack as well. So the pressure is mounting quickly here.
3.
Slayer's Stronghold's the first card.
Wow,
up.
you know what? With Jon at 16, Sam can get the land that gives double strike.
He can give Sun home.
Can he pay for the Summoner's Pact and activate Sunhome? I think he can. I think Sam can actually just win with
'cause he does
Sunhome on Primeval Titan because Jon went down to 16.
Right, and Sam has the bounce land in his hand, so he can use that to ensure he hits all 3 land drops on the following turn.
Right. Yeah, Azusa. Amulet with the Karus. I don't know what the official nickname is, but I think
We call them bounce lands.
Bounce lands? All right. They're Karus.
It depends on which side of their printing you reside.
All right. I may be showing my age. Yeah, Sunhome plus Primeval Titan.
Combat. Attack with these trigger.
So Slayer's Stronghold giving...
So he activated the Slayer's Stronghold before it got bounced.
Yep, giving haste to the Primeval Titan.
It also gets +2/+0 and Vigilance. Vigilance not going to matter much here as the Blighted Agent's unblockable, but there are scenarios where just putting a huge 6/6 in front of the, a Glistener Elf or something can matter. Not here. And Jon Finkel is left in the spectator seat here.
2
As
lands.
Sam Black just goes off.
Yeah, one of which he fetched out Teleria West just so that he could then bounce it to his hand.
Okay. So I think Take 9. Yep.
So he has the
Golgari Rot Farm.
so he can transmute once again.
So that he'll have the ability to transmute for more gas. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think in this case, Slaughter Pact is going to be on his radar depending on Jon Finkel's mana situation.
Yeah, I don't think he can quite transmute yet.
5.
Right.
So he's basically saying to Jon, can you kill me in one turn?
Now,
So-
if I'm Sam Black, I take my water bottle and I put it on top of my deck at this point.
To make sure you pay for the
Yeah,
pact.
maybe my whole backpack.
What did Jon draw?
It looks like he just picked up a land there. So he has 3 pump spells, but oh no, okay, Glycerin
it
Elf
was
is the
Glycerin
new
Elf.
card that he
That's
picked
not
up. I
good
see. Yeah.
So yeah.
Jon Finkel's down to 7 here.
Hey, what does he do about double striking Primeval Titan?
Even just activating the Slayer's Stronghold is enough to kill Jon.
Yeah, remember Primeval Titan does have trample, so
Yeah.
Right.
so Jon deep in thought here. I mean, he knows in his heart he's going to be facing lethal next turn.
I mean, he can soak up trample damage with his giant growths. Is that the line he's obliged to take here?
He's going to be taking a massive amount of trample damage, though.
I know.
+2 power from the Slayer Stronghold, double strike. That makes 16.
I mean, he can't win the game,
Yep.
so he's got to buy himself a turn. I don't see it either. Oh, you know what? He can use Vines of Vastwood. It doesn't target only your creatures. He can actually... Slayer Stronghold is target creature. He can fizzle the lands targeting the Primeval Titan by using the hexproof half of Vines of Vastwood.
Yeah,
That's a great
Vine
point,
says
Randy.
target creature can't be the
Can't
target
block.
of spells or ability your opponents control this turn. You're being Jon's opponent, so that's Sam, even if it's his own creatures.
Go ahead.
So he gets in for a single point of poison.
Which is relevant when he's got +4 and +4 and +4.
Absolutely.
It's just, can he manage to survive this turn? Sam did, of course, remember to pay for the pact.
He's got plenty of mana to do so.
So I think what Jon's hoping to accomplish here is to get Sam to make his attack, anticipating bringing out the Sun Home with the Primeval Titan, but only leaving himself, really enough mana to activate that and hope it works, in which case Jon can Vines the Primeval Titan and prevent it from getting double strike.
Floating a green, obviously. Sure.
Interestingly here, Jon does go down to 6.
Responding
He's
to
gonna
the transmute.
Respond to the transmute from Clary West.
But, I mean, with Jon at 6 and the Primeval Titan having trample, it doesn't even need double strike to finish him off at this
Glistener
point.
Elf that can block.
He does have an elf.
That's true.
But his
I mean,
music can
it's Slayer's
attack.
Stronghold, though, puts it up to 8 is what I'm saying.
Right.
And his music can attack. Other than that, though, Glistener Elf's got this.
Other than those 3 factors that prevent Jon from winning the game, things are looking just fine.
Okay, he goes for huge Glistener Elf. +4 and hexproof, so he's kicked the vines, targeting his own Glistener Elf. 5?
Pact,
Summoner's
use
Pact.
it, and here comes the second copy.
So with Jon tapped out, now it's time for Sam's puzzle-solving skills to go to work. And quite frankly, I think this is a puzzle that's well within his grasp at this point.
Yeah, we're going to see Sun Home finish things off here.
Yeah, I mean, first we're going to see the second Primeval Titan enter the battlefield.
Right.
Get haste with the Slayer Stronghold. He's going to have an 8-power trampler and a 6-power trampler cracking in. That alone, is going to be just about
2 more land
enough.
plays available? Yep. Make 4 mana? Sure. So I have 5 mana?
Now these are shortcuts that Sam uses.
Oh, the Spirit Guide for
Spirit
the extra
Guide.
mana.
Trigger?
Now this one can get +2, +0 haste and vigilance as well.
Yeah, and Jon's like, you
And
got me.
Jon
Primeval
has
Titan can go
had
get 2
enough.
more lands. He can see the Slayer Stronghold. Wow.
So
really
in the
well
battle-
navigated game by Sam there.
Yeah. Well
All right.
played.
We're going to jump over to Efro and Jacob Wilson after these messages.
Start on your road to the Pro Tour by playing in a preliminary Pro Tour qualifier. With more than 2,000 WPN locations running events, you're sure to find one near you. Visit magic.wizards.com/pptq for schedules and information. Vampires, dragons, beasts. Monsters are awesome and so are Magic fans, so we're giving Magic 2015 Duels of the Planeswalkers players the new Master of Monsters card pack as a bonus. Get these 30 new all-foil cards added to your digital collection as a bonus starting February 11th. Visit magicthegathering.com now to learn more.
Now, when you get to the late stages of a tournament like this, there's a lot on the line for every match. But for Eric Froelich versus Jacob Wilson, there's possibly even more.
I think that Eric Froelich is playing a win-in for Hall of Fame. With one more win, he'll make this top 8. And if he puts a 4th top 8 on his resume, I think he gets into the Hall of Fame.
I think so, too. That's sort of the threshold. He's been around the game for so long. He's had success at every level. But with 3 Pro Tour top 8s, most people are kind of like, you got to show me a little more.
Yeah, show me something else.
And
that 4th one is a litmus. I mean, I'm not a big believer in the litmus test. Oh, you must be this tall to pass to get through the door. But it's the only true flaw on his resume, is that he quote unquote only has 3 Pro Tour top 8s. The GP win last weekend helps. This is a huge top 8, and he knows it too. If you follow him on social media,
he knows.
You can see him talking about it. He's like, all right, an hour ago, he's like, I need one more win to clinch platinum for the year. That's not bad. Here we haven't even finished the 2nd Pro Tour of the season, right? And he's clinched platinum.
And he did that.
Yeah, that one's done. Now he wants to clinch Worlds. He wants to make the top 8. And I think he absolutely knows what this top 8 means from a historical legacy point of view.
So in our live look in here, we have Eric Froelich playing a fairly traditional Abzan deck, most of the things you'd expect. Jacob Wilson on his sort of anti-Abzan.
Yeah,
that's a great point. This matchup is awful for Eric.
Yeah, he's actually down a game here, too, as we come in.
I mean, the fact that his opponent is playing Wiltleaf Liege and Loxodon Smiter, and Eric's got the traditional Max Liliana version of Abzan, not a great matchup.
Now, Eric will know that by now, so he's going to be able to mitigate some of that. But those are some of his most powerful spells, right? I mean, Liliana of the Veil is one of his better cards, and
supposed to be.
Doesn't get to use it in the way that he'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this matchup, you're just playing Liliana, saying -2, and then never activating it again, as long as your opponent has cards in hand, because...
You think he sideboarded them out?
I certainly think he would.
Yeah, I think you take it out for game 2.
I mean, a 3-mana Edict is just not what you're really looking for here.
Sorcery speed.
Yeah, and especially with Jacob Wilson's deck having so many mana creatures. I mean, you're not even hitting what you want to hit.
Okay, in the meantime, Tarmogoyf doing what Tarmogoyf does, crunching in here for, it looks like 3 damage.
Yeah, when I saw Jacob thought sees the
Finks.
Scavenging Ooze, it made me think, all right, he's got some persist creatures, doesn't he?
Yep.
No busting this up.
Still a 3/4 Tarmogoyf, ready to crunch right through that Kitchen Finks here. And it does exactly that.
So we talked about Jacob Wilson's deck being anti-Abzan. Part of that is the cards that are effective against Liliana, like Loxodon Smiter and Wiltleaf Liege, come into play off of the discard. But also just these resilient creatures like Kitchen Finks. I mean, these are 2-for-1s, basically, often asking 2 answers from Froelich's deck.
Speaking of 2-for-1s, hello, Siege Rhino. Shows up, gets the Lightning Helix effect to the face, and has sort of shored things up as far as Jacob Wilson moving forward with any type of attack plan here. He wasn't able to block with his Finks. He's not going to be able to block with it here. So the ball's in your court, Jacob Wilson. Ifro has curved the Tarmogoyf into a Siege Rhino, and well, Voice of Resurgence, not really what the doctor ordered here either, although it does help. Double blocks are now.
Yeah, it certainly threatens to double block the Siege Rhino. Trample on the Siege Rhino being particularly relevant here. So even though Jacob Wilson's creatures are resilient, they are small, which means the Siege Rhino tramples over for a bit or...
1, if he double blocks. But double blocks, how risky is a double block here, given that Ifro can have different forms of removal?
Well, he does have the Voice of Resurgence.
It's not like Jacob's in a position to play around anything.
Yeah.
He's already down to 10. I mean, that attack is almost lethal.
Yeah, because I see that in Ifro's hand, he does have Abrupt Decay here.
Yeah, I think Jacob's hand was forced.
And Ifro's kind of waving it around, trying to decide.
Like, I'm going to kill something. Will it be this?
It'll be that. That's going to run over. That's going to mean that the Voice is going to get eaten by the Tarmogoyf, leaving the Elemental token behind, and the full force of Siege Rhino is going to hit Jacob Wilson. Wow, and another Tarmogoyf to follow up for Eric Froelich. So a really nice curve here.
Jacob did draw a Siege Rhino.
He did. He's also got a Wiltleaf Liege in his hand.
And a Lingering Souls.
And I think he's short of his 4th land here.
I think that's right.
Yeah, so these
Oh,
spirit
he is.
tokens buy some time against the Tarmogoyf. The Siege Rhino, of
And they
course,
make
does
the-
have trample.
Elemental gets to 4/4.
Yep, great point.
Yeah, that's nice, actually. He may
Just
have
source-
stabilized here.
Oh, Abrupt Decay put an instant in the graveyard, so it's land instant sorcery creature now.
4/5. I think another Abrupt Decay in hand for Eric Froelich as well. All right, in comes the team. Eric with that second copy of Abrupt Decay can attack with impunity as his opponent is tapped out. And Jacob's going to take the more conservative route, just double chumping here, and he's going to take 4 damage, knocking him down to 4 from the Siege Rhino. Really could use a land here.
Drew a Smiter.
He drew a Lockset on Smiter, which, yeah, that's just not going to get it done. He's dead on board if he plays the Smiter, right? Both of the Goyfs are 4 power, and so is the Siege Rhino. So instead, he's going to have to play Lingering Souls flashbacked out of his graveyard and pass the turn and basically repeat the last turn, except for this time he's got a chump block. Oh,
Cavaney.
Cavaney.
Township. That is going to bring Jacob Wilson down to 1. Let's see, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually lethal.
Siege Rhino going up to 5 power,
5
trampling
power
over for 4.
and that's going to do it. So Eric Froelich evens things up in his match. They are going to go to a game 3. That will be exciting. And it looks like we're underway back on our primary feature match there. Sam Black versus Jon Finkel. Sam won game 1. He went right off.
Yeah, turn 1 Glistener Elf for John.
He's also got the Inkmoth Nexus line in weights too, so could have a much better start. Oh, but here's a Summer Bloom. Now you'll
Yep,
note here
what's
though,
gonna happen?
there's no amulet on the board
Right.
for Sam Black this time. So while this can effectively act as a ramp spell and get him significantly ahead on mana, it's not the kind of thing that can abusively go off without the amulet.
So Summer Bloom is letting
Wow.
Sam put 2 lands into play.
By the way, Sam's at 5 poison. He got Might of Old Crocid last turn.
Aha!
So it was turn 1 Elf, turn 2 playing Inkmoth, Might of Old Crocid, whack you for 5. And the ball is firmly in Sam Black's court here. Jon Finkel with the big pressure early. He could easily
Is it
untap
though?
and win next turn.
I see Might of Old Crosa in John's hand. And Sam's out of mana. He
Yeah.
Summer Bloomed. He put 3 lands into play.
Just kill him.
I think John has the turn 3 kill. Now Sam plays Slaughter Pact. Does Sam have something he can do about this turn 3
Slaughter
kill?
Pact is a thing.
Does not look like Sam's holding anything relevant here. I think
Fire
John's just
Spout,
going to kill him.
This is just too late.
Get breeding pool and go to.
Yeah, Might of Old Crosa.
Wow. So both decks just having their way with the other and the earliest possible turn here.
John was like, I had a turn 4 kill the first game. That wasn't good enough. All right, here's a turn 3 kill.
Yeah.
Is
On the
this one
play.
good
On the
enough?
play.
Yeah, turn 3 on the play.
Yeah, it
Good
turns
point.
out the die roll in this matchup is probably pretty important. So
The thing is, from Sam's perspective, it's so hard to tell how quickly John can potentially kill him.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, Sam doesn't have a ton of ways to interact, so the correct thing for him to do, I think, is just play his game plan as proactively as he can and just try to race it.
I agree.
attack for lethal. Good game.
Yeah,
All right,
that's it.
so we're going to get a game 3 here as Jon Finkel takes down that one. Sam Black, nothing he could do.
Boy,
And
that's
we're
a-
moving right along.
That is a big game 3 coming up, too. It's what effectively amounts to an elimination match for top 8.
Wow, that is going to be fast and important.
So what was our, which match is already done? Del Moro Leon defeated Seth Manfield. So Seth is now on a losing streak.
But is
12
he
and
okay?
2. He needs a draw. Like,
Okay.
people are catching up to him in the standings where they're now, someone will eventually be willing to draw with him. And that should do it. I mean, like we said, he wasn't clinched. He still needed to pick up a draw somewhere. And I mean, I can't imagine if a 12-3-1 missed, it's not going to be the guy who was 12-0.
Right.
I mean, I guess now that he's fallen back to the pack, he could have, screwy pairings come up. This is where that tiny chance. Step 1 and step 2 of the tiny chance of missing top 8 were certainly lost, followed by
How many
loss.
more steps to go?
2.
Oh, jeez. All right, well,
But they're much less likely ones. So he had these next 2 steps involve him not finding someone who will draw with him.
all right, why don't we jump over take a look at Eric Froelich.
Yeah, both these matches
versus
are going
Jacob
to game
Wilson.
3, right?
Yeah, they're going to 3, and Sam's still kind of in the middle of sideboarding here. So if we can, if they actually get to keep their hands over on that back table, you see where Eric Froelich and Jacob Wilson are. But it looks like they're not, and
both taking a
so is
mulligan.
Ifro. So we're going to just hold on and hang out here until one of our matches gets properly underway here.
So the back table, who won the match? That's Nathaniel Smith with Zoo is now 11-3. Oh, it's a burn deck, not a Zoo deck. My info is here is bad. Defeats Austin Bursavich. So Austin Bursavich with the Infect deck, undefeated overnight. He has now had his back pushed firmly against the wall. He is 10-3-1.
Nothing to give.
So 2-3-1 so far today, but still in it. You go 8-0, you can pick up 3 losses in a draw, and still be live for top 8. But he's going to have to win-win. 2 rounds to go to course correct for Austin Bursavich.
All right, so as you can see in our feature match area, everybody's shuffling.
Yeah, I think we're gonna 2-box this, right? We're gonna watch both of these game 3s.
I need to see both of these.
I do too. Yeah.
When one of them ends, we'll go big screen on the one that's still remaining. My guess is that it'll be on Eric Froelich and Jacob Wilson, but you never know.
Best player of all time playing an elimination match for top 8 versus Sam Black, ranked number 12 in the world, and that's not the highlight.
That's not the highlight match.
No, I'm with you. Ifro's winning in has bigger stakes than anybody else.
Especially to him.
Especially to him.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a big deal for him, and we are underway up on that upper right-hand screen. So we'll keep an eye on both of these. I think that the Sam Black Jon Finkel match will move a little bit slower as far as pace, but each action it carries a highly significance to it. So we'll keep an eye on that as well.
Now, the good news for Eric is that even if he loses this to Jacob, he still gets another win in next round. Like, getting to fully, getting all the way up to 11-2 means he gets to play a pair of win-and-ins.
All right, so here is a Thoughtseize now from Eric Froelich. He sees one bad thing.
Don't take the smiter.
Yeah. I think he'll figure that one out. It looks like there's a path and maybe a
Voice of Resurgence
as well. So this is the interesting thing here is, does Eric want to take away a threat, which is what he decides to do, or an answer, which he's left?
Yeah, I think you
Jacob
just take
with
the opportunity to 1-for-1 with the Voice of Resurgence, which is otherwise hard to do. Wilson with the turn 2 Smiter off the Noble Hierarch. As he mentioned earlier, starting with 1-drop mana accelerant is really what his deck wants to do. And Noble Hierarch is, arguably the best of those. So he's off to kind of the start that he wants.
Yeah, Smiter packs a big punch. 3 mana for a 4/4 that can't be countered, and if your opponent makes you discard it, you can just play it. But right now, it's just playing the role of beatdown, as it's actually going to hit for 5 damage here.
Ifro does have a path.
How about we cancel that order? So Path to Exile on your upkeep. The reason Ifro does this is so that Wilson doesn't have access to the mana from this land, as it's going to enter battlefield tapped.
And you don't often want to path your opponent's creature on turn 2, but in this case, Ifro just saw Wilson's hand and knows that he doesn't really have a lot of gas there, so he's not afraid to say, have some extra mana, good luck doing something with it.
He also waited until Jacob's upkeep so that land won't actually give Jacob any mana until turn 4. Serum Visions for Sam on the first turn. Trying to set up.
Is there an argument to waiting until the creature attacks? Ifro stands to take an extra damage here as a result. That damage right there. Where if he waits for the Smiter to attack, he paths it then, and then he doesn't take any damage this turn.
I mean, often the reason you do it upkeep is to prevent your opponent from reacting. I'm not sure if there was a card Jacob could have had to
can't
foil
think of
those
one.
plans.
Interesting little mini sub games at play here as Eric Froelich finds himself a pair of Spirit Tokens off of Lingering Souls.
Meanwhile, Jon Finkel takes a look at Sam Black's hand.
Yeah, this is just Gitaxian Probe. He's writing down the contents of the hand. This is not, doesn't get to interact with it, he just gets to see it.
And Sam does have the Amulet of Vigor, so that's an ingredient that's important to his explosive starts.
It looks like he just found it. He would have played it turn 1, right?
I think so. You know,
Yeah,
assuming
Serum
he
Vision.
had the right lands to follow it up. Although I didn't get a great look at his hand, but it's possible he's got an awkward land situation. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on that one. I'm still in the upper right-hand corner,
yeah.
though, as I watch Eric Froelich attack for 2 in the air.
He
With a
flashed back
spirit
Lingering
token.
Souls against an opponent that's holding Path to Exile.
So, yeah, this is really how we saw Game 2 play out to Efro's advantage. Wilson's deck has a lot of resilient cards that are difficult for Eric to deal with, but if Jacob Wilson gets behind on board, he doesn't have many ways in his deck to catch up. He really needs to assemble a big board presence and then either pump it up with Wiltleaf Liege or Gavany Township. And right now, all he has is the Noble Hierarch.
Relic of Progenitus 1 turn late to stop the Lingering Souls from getting flashed back.
That's right. It
He
will
just
keep
cycles
the
it.
it'll keep future Tarmogoyfs a bit smaller, but for now it looks like Wilson's looking for action.
Jacob
here.
is holding Path, Path, Path.
no
So-
way.
Those 3 cards can almost deal with the Lingering Souls.
Yeah, not a great situation for him to be in. But keep in mind, one of the important cards we might see come out on maybe either side of this matchup is Zealous Persecution, and that could get Jacob Wilson right back into this game.
These are the type of sideboard cards that you can bring in against Lingering Souls and mana creatures and such.
Yeah, absolutely. Gives your whole opponent's team -1/-1.
Jacob uses his Path on the Noble Hierarch.
Interesting. You don't see that very often.
Well, he doesn't want Gavany Township to turn on. Like, if Eric just played a land, he's got Gavany Township mana, and suddenly all those flyers are 2/2s.
He's dead in a couple of turns.
Yeah, I mean, that removes Zealous Persecution specifically as one of the cards you could draw into, so I'm sure he's thinking about that.
Yep. Good.
Jon Finkel, meanwhile, has a Glistener Elf.
So Sam Black with a little bit of a slow start. I think
Yeah.
just played
Both
his,
players have a bit of a slow
his
start, I'd say.
Ravnica Simic Growth Chamber on turn 2.
And in comes the team here back in the upper right-hand corner for Eric Froelich. Attacking for 4. His follow-up is a Tarmogoyf, which you would think would be quite impressive at this stage of the game, but it's actually a 1/2 right now.
Yep, that Relic.
The Relic having wiped out the graveyards just a turn prior.
Okay.
And there's a Kitchen Finks now for Wilson. I don't see any big fireworks going off, although maybe I spoke too soon.
I see some fireworks in the
Spell
lower left
Pierce.
hand.
That's what I was going to
match,
say.
actually, yeah.
Spell Pierce is going to hit Summer Bloom.
Spell Pierce your Summer Bloom.
So to recap
Wow.
that turn, Sam replayed his Mana Confluence, played the Amulet of Vigor, that resolved, and then attempted a Summer Bloom, which would let him generate a ton of mana with the Ravnica lands bouncing to and from the battlefield.
John was not interested in that happening.
Yep, Spell Pierce from Jon Finkel says nope to that, and essentially time walks Sam, which is huge.
Probably
in-
more than
in
time
this
walk,
match.
honestly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he took one of his key combo pieces out and slowed him down a lot. And on top of it, Finkel has a threat with the Glistener Elf there.
Siege Rhino from Efro. His board
Siege Rhino
looks
from
great.
Efro, he is just crushing right now.
All right, second path, but
The second
still.
path, but like we said, you know, these Siege Rhinos.
Wait, John is becoming immense.
Oh,
No, there's a slaughter pack. Can he pay
Slaughterpact.
for it? Yeah, he can just
He can,
barely
yeah,
pay
He
yeah.
can
for
pay
it.
for it. Talking of time walks, you know, we use that as slang for when a player doesn't get to play their turn. And here's another one.
Sam had to just naturally draw that, too. How many does he have after sideboarding? He's like 1 main and then
I think he just has the one, to be honest. And
happened
this is
to have it.
This is really interesting because in a matchup that we thought would play out just as a non-interactive race, both players trading resource for resource. Spell
True.
Pierce for Summer Bloom, Slaughter Pact for Glistener Elf, and Become Immense.
yeah. John's like, I even probed him earlier. It wasn't there when I probed you 2 turns ago.
So
He's gonna
Sam
do
with
it again.
a Hive Mind, a Vesuva. Can't quite say that third card. Can you? say,
That's a
Marshall?
Primeval Titan.
A Primeval
and
Titan.
a Hive Mind. Yeah.
Okay, so he's got
Okay.
plenty of gas
but
there.
he no longer has
needs
a pact to go with the Hive Mind.
Right, it needs a little bit of time to get up to it.
And it looks like he might have it. It depends on if John can come up with another threat here. Up in the upper right, you see that there's a Kitchen Finks on the table here for Wilson, who's fallen down to 9 life and is facing down a Tarmogoyf and quad spirit tokens. But really, I'm looking at that Gavany Township.
yeah.
How long until that thing just gets active and Wilson gets locked out of this game?
It's active now.
Yeah. I mean, activated.
Right. I mean, Wilson is obliged to, what, chump the Tarmogoyf with Noble Hierarch, or he might still
Yes.
have a third path in his hand.
It could be. I mean, he's slated to take 8 in the air if Efro activates it. With no interaction from Wilson, he would have to chump. If he has a path, he can take out a spirit token. Like, this is just does not seem like a winning proposition here.
Eric leaves the Tarmogoyf on defense.
And he's got the finger. There it goes.
All right, he's going to activate
Pro-
Township. Look at
Thinking
the 2
about
mana he's
Zealous
got left over,
Persecution.
by the way. There's Zealous Persecution.
Wow. I was, wow.
But
What are we going to see here from Eric Froelich?
what's the best card Eric could have in his hand
Zealous
right now?
Persecution.
In response to your Zealous Persecution.
That is the best.
The timing
and I'm really
matters huge
surprised.
here.
I mean, Jacob Wilson could have fired that off on his own turn.
I've got my own.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness! What an incredible series of blowouts there.
Gavin
Jacob Wilson
Township
could have just
activation.
cast that on his own turn. Instead, he's like, no, I want to get Eric to tap out.
To waste his mana.
Yeah, to waste his mana on the Gabony Township. He
Yeah,
figures,
Eric was tapped out on Jacob's
He figures
turn.
I'm behind. I really need to squeak out every little advantage I can. But by letting Eric Froelich untap, he now has access to his own Zealous Persecution.
So those are going to completely cancel out each other by the time.
But it means the Gavany Township resolves.
and
Yep.
then the Gavany
And most
Township
importantly,
resolves.
it means the 4 spirits are still alive.
Right?
They're in play as 2/2 flyers, dealing 8 damage.
Wow, what a sequence of events.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Crunching Wilson down to 8 here, although Wilson's in the tank now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's still thinking about. I
Well,
guess
he's
got
got a
path in his
hierarchy and a
hand.
path, so I don't know if it matters whether he does it now or in a minute here, but wow. What a
So-
sequence.
Meanwhile, in the bottom left-hand match, Sam Black and Jon Finkel, it looked to me like Jon played 2 Glistener Elves and actually just played a Distortion Strike on one of the Summoning Sick Glistener Elves. So that's
Hilarious.
clearly setting up for next turn.
Oh, that's awesome play.
He's basically saying, I know you have no way to interact with me. I'm
Next turn, I will have an
I'm
unblockable
putting my
guy.
hand face up on the table here, metaphorically
Check.
speaking.
Yeah, check, exactly. All right, so that was Path to Exile to take down Tarmogoyf. I'm looking back in the upper right-hand corner of your screen now. Tarmogoyf wasn't attacking, however, so Wilson is really relying on a way to deal with all of these spirit tokens. He has to kill every single one this turn or kill Eric Froelich or this thing's over.
Make 6 mana? Sure.
Sam's
Sam
making
says
6
make
mana.
6
That-
mana, which can't be good for Jon Finkel fans.
Jacob Wilson extends the hand.
He does.
Eric Froelich says,
wins.
bad matchup, no problem. I got this. Eric Froelich, we believe we have him 1 intentional draw away from top 8.
From
Top
number
8,
4.
Number 4 in his career.
Wow. So congratulations to Eric Froelich for that victory. And if things line up for him, we will see him in the top 8.
Jacob Wilson, meanwhile, also had the loss to give. So these guys, that was table 2 in the tournament.
Right.
Jacob Wilson gets to play another win and in next round. And Eric looks like all he needs is a draw.
And
Okay,
right
so-
in the middle of Sam Black's explosive turn here, he's just resolved Primeval Titan. In the process of fetching up his lands, he does have Amulet of Vigor in place. This is going to generate him a lot of mana. Jon Finkel at 13, and it's certainly within the realm of possibility that Primeval Titan could be attacking for 13 this turn, depending
It's
on what Sam has in his hand.
Totally possible. Sam just gave it haste, vigilance, and +2/+0 with Slayer's Stronghold and is going to attack now.
Combat.
Is Azusa getting in there?
The dream, of course, to fetch up Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion, which is capable of giving a creature double strike, although it is mana intensive to
Yeah, it's
activate.
4 to activate.
4 to activate, plus tapping it itself. So I don't believe with what Sam has on the battlefield, he has enough to generate lethal this turn.
He did not attack with Azusa.
So he's getting the 2 lands from the Primeval Titan trigger.
That's
Meanwhile, Jon Finkel has a Distortion Strike suspended, so to
Looming.
speak. Yeah, looming with Rebound. So that'll come back again on his upkeep, make one of the Glistener Elves unblockable. So even though Sam has Azusa back to block, at least one of those Glistener Elves will get
So is that a
through.
Ghost Quarter there for Sam?
It is.
Interesting.
Is he looking to blow up the Pendlehaven?
He can take out the Pendlehaven. It could be, depending on how he sees this next turn going, he obviously has the fear, right, after seeing that Distortion Strike. He could just take out Pendlehaven. He also could use it on an Inkmoth Nexus down the line if there is a down the line.
Yeah, I
So
think
those
his mentality here is he probably can't win the game this turn, I'm assuming.
Yeah, down the line is next turn.
And yeah, takes out the Pendlehaven and just says, you know what, if I can't kill you this turn, what I can do is prevent at least one of that poison damage that I face next turn.
Right, and that 1 is often a big deal. Like, because so many of the cards in Jon's deck give +4, Pendlehaven making the Glistener Elf start up at 2 power can be good. Now, Distortion Strike also gets it to 2 power.
It also importantly denies Jon 1 mana. I mean, he may be planning just
True.
to tap that Pendelhaven for green and
Also
string
true.
together, say, 2 Vines of Vastwood.
Well, but he gets
But
to get a
he gets a
basic,
forest.
so Ghost
oh,
Quarter doesn't deny
that's true.
him
My mistake.
raw mana.
Absolutely. You're right. You're right.
So does Sam have anything else this turn? No. He just says go. He set up the win on the following turn. Distortion Strike targets Glistener Elf. Can Jon Finkel find a win now? He can't.
Wow.
And extends
He
the
cannot.
hand. Sam Black improves to 11-3. Randy, how close is Sam to a top 8 here?
He needs a win.
So he's 1 win away,
Yeah.
and he's got 1 shot at it.
We're going to have a bunch of 11-3 players next round who are playing, hoping that if they win round 15, they'll get the draw round 16.
Wow. That was exciting stuff down there.
Absolutely.
We saw Eric Froelich win his match, maybe for Hall of Fame. You know, we don't
Maybe.
know for sure. You know, there's voting, there's a whole lot of things, but if he makes a top 8 here, his name moves way up the charts, I think, of
Absolutely.
people's radar for Hall of Fame voting. We saw Sam Black. You know, speaking of Hall of Fame, he's not quite there yet, but, you know, he picks up a top 8 here, and next thing you know, we're talking about him, you know, a few short tournaments away as well. So major stakes down in the feature match area.
And we get Jon Finkel on camera playing for top 8 deep again. It's almost like Portland. We got him there with a couple of rounds to go, but couldn't quite get it done.
All right, so why don't we send it back to the news desk and Richard Hagan.
All right, thank you so much to the guys. Sam Black lives to fight another day at 11-3. Jon Finkel right on the verge at 10-4. It just depends. Will we see an X-4 make it in? Other results coming in. Jelger Wiegersma wins 11-2-1. He is in with a shout of his 5th Pro Tour top 8 for the Hall of Famer. Huang Hao Shan, 11-3. He has a 49% win rate from 17 Pro Tour starts. He's 1 win away from the top 8 potentially for him. Mike Vasovsky, 11-3. Li Shi-chan, 11-3. He's potentially going to be in a 3rd modern Pro Tour top 8. 2012 returned to Ravnica, 2014 in Valencia, and now 1 win away for Li Shi-chan. Eric Froelich, we know, is up to 12-2. Jacob Wilson had that loss to give. He's 11-3. He'll come back the next round. Will we see Black against Wilson for a slot in the Pro Tour in the penultimate round? More results coming in. But right now, we've got a fantastic feature for you. Very special thing we've not really done before here at the Pro Tour. A few weeks ago, we sent out emails to a group of players who were testing for this Pro Tour, and we said, will you keep a deck diary for us? Will you say, every couple of days, what would you play if the Pro Tour was right now? And 5 or 6 players responded, thankfully, and we're very grateful to them. You'll be able to see all their deck diaries as we head towards the Grand Prix in Vancouver in a couple of weeks' time. But right now, from very first thoughts to final deck list, let's go inside the deck diary with Brian David Marshall. Here comes our Relax.